This following video is a little chat about how much should a pool guy charge. After re-watching the video a couple of times, I've sort of sounds like I'm slurring and I'm jumbling my words a bit. But what you got to understand about me is that sometimes my head has got so much stuff that it wants to get out, and it can come across like I'm slurring or I've got something going on upstairs. But that's what's going on. Enjoy the first video. It's been a while.
How much should you charge to do a pool service, like a full service? That's a common question. Spending a couple of days at Splash, got to speak to a couple of followers and a couple of other people around and about. And you hear some stories about people charging, $55, $65, $100, $125 for a pool service to the customer. That's just the labour component that they're charging, not the chemicals on top of that. So I'm curious to know what people actually think or maybe feel what that's worth. So when you look at a full service, we're talking everything from water testing, brushing the water line, scooping the pool surface, cleaning the filters, regardless of it being a cartridge filter. I mean, they take up to 15, 20 times if you're doing them properly. Sand filter, a couple of minutes. Other things like, emptying the baskets, checking the O-rings, making sure everything's all tight, there's no leaks, adjusting outputs, timers. Then you got your water testing. So you got your water testing kit. Depending on what you use, that can sometimes cost you somewhere between $3 a test. That's just for the disc, $3.80 or whatever it is. If you're using the Palin test, you've got your little droplets and your little tablets, miscellaneous things that come into that, which, I can talk about another time. But, you go and you put all those little things into place for a full service, and unless you're, a young whippersnapper, those services, if you're doing them properly and thoroughly, did I mention a vacuum? Yeah, you got to do a vacuum on a full service. Unless you're a whippersnapper or you're Mr. Incredible, they should be taking you anywhere between sort of 30, if it's not a cartridge filter, to anywhere up to 40, 50 minutes of service. So even if you were to do $1 a minute on site and say it takes you 50 minutes with a cartridge filter, that's $1 a minute that you're charging for your time. If you've got a Cert 3 or you've done some other extensive training, you're charging $1 a minute for that experience and expertise. Now, some people say, but if I charge less, I'll just turn over more. So if you're charging $1 a minute and you're turning over 8, 10 jobs a day, well, it adds up. But there's all those little hidden costs that a lot of people don't think about until it's too late. They start owing money to the tax man. They may have a debt that they can't afford to pay off, superannuation. So all the little hidden costs in running your van per hour adds up. And this is something that I go through with my team when we start. You've got to work out what your value is per hour. So work out what your registration cost is. You might want a set of tyres a year. You might want 1 or 2 services a year. Don't forget about your rego. So if you're running a vehicle for your business, it should be registered as business, right? Green slip, comprehensive insurance, it all adds up. So if you sit down and go, all right, this is what my vehicle cost me for the year, and then you divide that by 52, so that's 52 weeks in the year, and you'll get a sum. Little things on top of that is like public liability. You should be insured. If you're not insured and out there doing pool services, you probably want to stop and get some insurance. Not only to protect yourself, but to look after your customers. If you accidentally damage something in someone's property, you're liable for that, and insurance will help you out with that. Going back to the vehicle, how much fuel do you use? If you're filling up your tank once a week, depending on what you drive, you're paying anywhere between $90 to $120 a week now if you do a full tank. Health insurance, if you hurt yourself or injure yourself at work, and it does happen to pool guys, you've only got to slip on a bit of moss or a bit of loose gravel poolside, especially if you're going down a hill, that's going to hurt, and you're going to be off work for anywhere between a few days, depending on the injury, up to a few months, sometimes 6 months, and then you're out of work. So insurance for injury. Most of this conversation is based around a single man working on his own, like a sole trader or something like that. Not someone with staff, because that's a lot more other things to put into to account there to cover your costs. Advertising. If you're looking for work or you're advertising for work as a solo operator, how much is that costing you a week? What about a year? Work it out for the year, and the last year that you've spent advertising money, and divide that by 52. Just by doing those little simple things, you're going to start to work out that your costs per week start to increase. Now, if you're working 5 days a week and you're running 8 hours a day, divide that up per hour and see what that's worth. And then finally, what do you think you're worth? Like, if you were to go and work for someone, what would you expect to be paid per hour? If you're a pool guy that has done some extensive training, or you're pretty knowledgeable, you're pretty seasoned in the business, and you kind of know what you're doing, because let's face it, some guys just need some more training, and you think you're worth $20, $25 an hour, no, you're not. Maintaining a pool just isn't simple all the time. There's some complicated issues, there's some complicated problems that you do come across that your average person can't fix. This is why they call you out, right? So have a look at other trades and see what they're charging just for a call out fee per hour, or up to the hour. Some will charge a certain fee just for 30 minutes. What I'm getting at is, work out your costs right down to the hour and the day that you're running your business, and then decide, am I charging enough? Because if you're just covering your cost and just covering your own wage, and there's no profit, or there's no what they call fat in the business, why are you doing it? You may as well just go and work for someone, right? The idea of being in business is to benefit yourself and to have goals and achieve those goals. So I'm curious to know what people are charging. Are these people that are charging $50, $55, $75, $80 for a full service, anywhere up to an hour on site? Are they on the ballpark, or should we be charging more? Don't know. I think the pool industry needs some value. Anyone can be a pool guy. Not everyone can be an experienced pool guy unless they put the effort in themselves. And when you're putting the effort into yourselves and you're skilling up, you're worth more than a miserable $20, $25 an hour once you break down all your costs. Just a thought, but happy to hear what people's thoughts. It's just something that scratches my brain occasionally, and just, I don't know. Anyway, enjoy your day.